It's become a lot easier to make Lactobacillus reuteri yogurt. You recall in the original recipe, we had to start with 10 tablets and then crush them to get the starting microbes that then ferment into the L. reuteri yogurt. Well, the reason we did that was because the tablets were made for infants. So each tablet had a very low number of microbes. We had to combine 10. And even then, sometimes we had difficulty in getting a final end product that was satisfactory. That's the reason I came out with these two alternatives as my reuteri in capsule form in 10, 20, or 50 billion counts per capsule, or as just little packets as a starter culture. All will work. So we're going to need a number of things. We're going to need a device that can keep the yogurt fermenting at about human body temperature, roughly 100 degrees Fahrenheit, or really 98 to 102 degrees Fahrenheit. Going to need a container, of course, preferably glass or ceramic. You need a means to cover it. Could be saran wrap, could be just the cover for a device, for a bowl. You will need clean utensils, of course, and you'll need some, well, I like to use organic half and half. It doesn't have to be half and half, it could be whole milk. Some people like to use coconut milk, but if you do use coconut milk, canned coconut milk, please see my recipe for using canned coconut milk. There's a couple of additional steps that are required because coconut milk has the tendency to separate, and we have to take a couple of steps. Very easy. We add some guar gum and use a stick blender to keep it from separating prior to adding microbes. So see that recipe separately. So let's use organic half and half in this case. So I'm going to start by taking the contents of one my reuteri capsule, or you could use the contents of one envelope of the starter culture in a packet, but let's use the capsule. I'm going to open the capsule and then pour it into this clean bowl. So I might have to pinch the capsule a few times to encourage the contents to leave. I pre-measured out 1 tablespoon of inulin. Recall that we add inulin. It's kind of like adding fertilizer to your backyard garden. You're going to get bigger tomatoes and more cucumbers that way. Same thing here. We get better growth of microbes when we feed them. So that's a tablespoon of pre-measured inulin powder. So I add that. Now, these dry products tend to clump if you add liquid. So I'm going to add some organic half and half, but I'm only going to add maybe a couple tablespoons, 2 or 3 tablespoons, and stir. You'll see some clumping. So you want to stir well to make sure all the clumps have been broken. It may take a minute or so to break up all those clumps. Once you're happy that all the clumps are dissolved, then add the remainder of your liquid, whatever you're using. This is organic half and half. And then, of course, stir to uniformly spread the microbes throughout the mixture. Then, of course, cover. In this case, I have a container that has its own built-in cover, but it could be just plain old plastic wrap or whatever you have. And then, of course, I put it in this case, in this device that I've preset to 100 degrees Fahrenheit for 36 hours. With this device, it also comes with a cover for the actual device that contains the yogurt. And then now we let it go for 36 hours. So this device comes with its own cover that covers the container with the yogurt as well as the water bath. And so let it sit for 36 hours and we'll come back in a little bit. Okay, it's been 36 hours. Let's take a look. So the end result should be thick and should stand up as you spoon it out because of the prolonged fermentation, the addition of the prebiotic fiber, all that allowed it to the yogurt to ferment to a very thick and rich end result. So there you go. That's how to make Lactobacillus reuteri yogurt.